Mark Anthony Tierno, author of Maldine, Cyberdawn, and Spectre Flatfoot. You get the idea. And I'm here with another writing tip. Today's writing tip is what makes a good villain. Every good story has a good villain, but a great story needs a great villain. But just what comprises a great villain? Yeah, having a guy who's with the black cat and can just destroy everything randomly in his way, ultimately powerful, is a bit juvenile and unimaginative, and in the end, not really all that interesting. On, on the other hand, a villain can't be weak either. So I'm going to discuss here what exactly makes for a great and memorable villain. First off, he has to be a big challenge. No matter how big and powerful your characters are, the villain must be that much more, so otherwise it wouldn't be a threat. So if you have a group of 9 or 10 characters, the villain has to be big enough to take them all on them off the floor with. But on the other hand, never be arbitrary. Just having the guy, zot everything that gets near without rhyme or reason, or without actually figuring out what its capabilities are, that just doesn't do it. Even if you don't say right off the bat in the story, and you should never say it right off the bat in the story, because one of the things I got to figure out, you should have down in your notes what the limits of his capabilities are, why he's so powerful, why he can do this, what he can't do, etc. And the rest is eventually to be dribbled out throughout the story as the characters try to find out more about him. For instance, do they work under certain circumstances? Does he have a certain secret or power? But no infinity blasts, please. Background. Everybody has a background, even the bad guy. It tells us where he gets his abilities, what his reasons are for doing things, and everything. And part of any good story is finding out all the details about the villain's background, his capabilities, so that the heroes can find out how to defeat him. And of course, there in this case are two types of villains. There's the old like Mr. Freeze, a villain with a sympathetic background, and you find out his whys and wherefores. Or there's the other just unrelenting evil villain, but even he has a reason for being there. On my book Maldine, for instance, my big villain Myro is introduced at the beginning as being this just really evil, ultimately powerful being, but he does have a background, which we won't really get into until much later in this series, but it is there, and it is what I work from on everything that happens in the story. Everything needs some form of reasoning or logic. Don't just say he can do it because he's infinitely powerful. There has to be a reason or source behind everything he does. And also the source of reasoning behind any weaknesses, for instance. Yes, even Myro, there is a specific background to why he is so powerful and menacing. And of course, my job of authors is not to tell you guys directly. It's hinted at, and something that the characters have to strive for. And if he has any weaknesses, make it logically derived. No deadly allergy to peanuts, or only the magic sort of Hoboken can actually get him. If you have some item or something that your villain has a weakness to, you got to have a darn good reason. This item may be connected to his soul in some way. And if so, is there a background story behind that? Because there better be. So, a logical reason for everything you do. And a great villain needs a great personality. Either the insanity of the Joker, or someone more cool and collected. In Myro's case, I go for the cool and collected. I also have not exactly a villain. Poatter is sort of walking the border between things, but he has a good, solid personality in the way of sheer insanity. But like that which sets one comparison. Poatter completely bug nuts insane. That's his big personality. Myro, calm, cool, collected, nothing disturbs him. But either way, your villain has to have a notable personality. A good approach is to go with an extreme version of a desired personality trait. So if his personality is his strong point is he's insane, go way off the deep end insane. If he's calm, cool, and collected, then this should be a guy that's somebody dropping a nuclear bomb within a few miles of him shouldn't even ruffle his hair. You should be nice and calm and go something like, well, this puts a slight crimp in my plans, but nothing I can't handle. So an extreme version of a standard personality trait is a great way to bring out a villain. Oh yeah, no need to kill everything. A villain, yes, he will be killing a few things, but he can also be using people, which is what I use on my favorite villain. In that, say, if you've ever met Myro and you walk away still alive, somehow you figured into his plans. That's a guarantee. Or others like Poatar, who can twist somebody into insanity. And I have a scene in Maldine 2 where I do just that with a very stable personality. So there are things worse and more entertaining than just everybody being killed. So you don't have to have instant death to prove anything. Big stakes. The bigger the villain's goal, the bigger the threat posed by his activity, the more important it is for the heroes to overcome this threat. Just make sure that the goal makes good sense within the background setting of your world and your story. But in my case, I try to have the ultimate villain, so I have the ultimate stakes. What those stakes are, I'm not mentioning. But it's also relative. For instance, a story set back in the Dark Ages, at a sparsely populated village, the big threat is going to be a few raiders coming in, a horde that might wipe out the town. That's their big threat. On the other hand, in a bigger, say more science fiction thing, the big stake would be something more global. If the stake is wiping out the world, keep in mind what their world is. Is it that small village? Is it the planet? Is it something more? It should be big relative to the story you're trying to tell. Oh yeah, my one major complaint that I had since I was like about 14 and realized everybody was doing it: don't have the villain explain everything. Don't have a scene where he's captured the good guy and spends the next 20 minutes explaining his entire plan, giving time for the cavalry to come charging in. You should never have to resort to the villain having to explain his plot. His plot should come out in bits and pieces by his actions, by things maybe that his underlings say, by what gets done. It should be shown. It should be things that the heroes figure out based on the available facts and what it is that happens. But you should never ever have the villain have to give his big soliloquy explaining, here's my big nefarious plan to everyone. In fact, I make it a point, particularly in the Maldine series, I never, well, in the first book, there's like 2 behind the scenes things involving Myro, but that's always with one of his underlings present, and you never see him reveal anything. Other than that, I don't have any behind the scenes things with Myro. Nothing showing him setting up anything or what's being set up. Anytime there is a scene with him, there's always another character present, and that's what it's from the character's point of view. I don't have anything from my big villain's point of view because this makes him more mysterious, and it's not an automatic giveaway for what his big plans are, and that leaves it to others to figure out, and for the reader to figure out. Oh yeah, show it, don't say it. It's okay as a starting point to say this villain is greatly feared by everyone because you got to start somewhere. But after a while, you should show why he's greatly feared by everyone. Before you need him to do his big throwdown scene, which will inevitably happen later in the series, have something before then. If like a favorite character killed, something he does to, a flick of his finger and a town disappears, whatever is relative to what you're doing. Show something, have him do something to give an idea of why that he's greatly feared. Put a couple scenes of him in action, or scenes involving parts of his plan coming out. Like just the beginning parts of his plan where, oh no, the bomb went off in downtown New York or whatever, and no one could, and they couldn't figure it out because he was so ingenious. So this shows a little bit of why he's so feared, but that turns out to be a small issue compared to his greater plan. So show why he's greatly feared. You can start off by saying everyone's afraid of him, but you have to show. If in doubt, show, don't tell. Above all, a villain should be memorable. He should have something that drills him into your mind, and makes him unforgettable. A certain presence. Perfect example of this that I'm sure all you guys would know is Darth Vader. He's one of the most memorable villains in all of fiction. Palpatine I also like because he's the guy with the black hat and the twirling mustache. That's just evil for evil's sake. But give your villain something, to make him memorable, a quirk in his personality or just the way he acts. He should be like something that the heroes can admire at the same time that they want to take him down. You can admire someone, say, for how ingenious he is, his efficiency in killing off the world or whatever, but that doesn't mean you got to like him. But something admirable about him. Anyway, these are my tips on how to create a good villain. I'll be doing more in the same series of writing tips. Until then, get back to reading, get back to writing. Have a nice day.